This is Michael from DS Guide, and today we're going to take a look at how to build a chatbot very simply. And you can see here in this UI for Anthropic, we have what is 2 times 5? We're going to be using this as our example. It's very simple. You can see the answer should be 10. So let's dive into our script. So we're going to start off with getting those environmental variables, our API keys. If you don't have them already, make sure that you create a .env file and you populate the API keys. I've already provided an example, so never show anybody your API keys. Here you can see I just give you a layout of what's needed for this notebook. So I recommend you get your Anthropic key, your OpenAI key. And then lastly is you should sign the Langsmith so you can get the benefits of observability. So what's going on under the hood in your LLMs. Let's jump back into the file. So first off, we're going to go ahead and get LangChain's init chat model. This means we don't need to initialize Anthropic models with Anthropic code, and we don't need to then shift gears and grab OpenAI's code for initializing their model. We can just use one, this init chat model. And then next is, instead of creating a really verbose sort of solution for a chatbot, we're going to be playing around with create React agent from LangGraph where things are pre-built. Let's go ahead and execute this cell and make sure that we have our API keys in place. Great, they're set. So here's our question. We're just going to set it to this variable question. And anytime we invoke a model, we're going to pass it this question. We're going to start with Claude Sonnet. You can see the init chat model takes this model argument, and then you can actually pair up the model provider and the model you're going to use and just use a colon in between. And that's it. So now we have our model and we're ready to use our LLM. So let's go ahead and invoke it, like I said before, and we're going to pass it a question to get our response. And then I'm using a for loop here because there's a lot of content and it'll all be on one line. We're going to put all the output line by line so it's a little easier to read. And notice how it takes about a second. And here we are, we have our content. So remember when we looked at the UI here, we see 10. Our output here is 2 times 5 equals 10. If we're going to look for this trace later for this run, this ID will be helpful. What I'd like to point your attention to right now is the token consumption. So there were 14 tokens going in, there are 11 tokens going out. That's generally how we're charged by these model providers. 25 tokens in total, not a lot. We'll reference that a little later on. Here we have O3 Mini. So this is a reasoning model. So we anticipate more token usage. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We have init chat model, and we're going to get the response by invoking the model and passing it the question. You'll notice this takes 2.6 seconds. It's a reasoning model. The results are very similar. The input tokens are 13, but the output tokens are 22. So we have 35 total now. So a bit more. Did we need a reasoning model for this? Probably not. So what is a tool? It's really just a function. So here you can see we have multiply. So it takes 2 arguments, A and B. It takes those 2 numbers and it multiplies them together, and that's what it returns. So let's go ahead and execute this cell and let's bind these tools. So we have multiply and divide. Let's bind them to the model that we've created here, that we've initialized. So you can see we can pass it in a list. So we can pass as many functions as we'd like, as many tools as we want. And here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to invoke that model with the tool, and we're going to pass it the question, and then we're going to take a look at the output. Here you can see it took 1.8 seconds. And the content's much longer. So we have text, hey, yeah, I'll help you multiply 2 and 5. Use the multiply tool. So it was aware of the tool. It decided to use the tool. It's determined the inputs. So the arguments for A and B, they're going to be 2 and 5. And here you can see the tool call name. And the type here is tool use. We have the run ID if we want to go find this in Langsmith. And you can see we've seen the input tokens, output tokens kind of explode. Now we're at 531 tokens. So just be aware when you start using tools, you do see a substantial rise in token consumption. Now let's go take a look at how we might use this tool output, because another thing to keep in mind is we don't have 10. There's no answer here. What we need is a chatbot to be able to make use of that tool and provide another API call that can get us the answer we need. So if I were just to take that tool call, in this case, there's only one. So I'm just going to grab the first one, which is the 0 index. So you can see we have 1 there, it's multiply, and we have these arguments. So if we pass those, if we assign those arguments A and B to A and B in the function, we will get our result, which is 10. Okay, so now let's talk about creating a chatbot with create React agent. Now, ordinarily, I would need to create the graph, which means creating nodes and edges. The nodes are going to be start and end, and then everything in between. And in this case, it would be an LLM and a tool. The LLM makes use of the tool and provides a response. And if it's done, it moves to end. So I just kind of described the nodes as well as the edges. And that can take quite a bit of code, but if we want to be less verbose, we can use this create React agent, which is pre-built, and we're passing it the model of interest, in this case, the model provider : the model name. And then we're passing it the tools and a helpful prompt. So let's initialize that agent. And like before, we're invoking the agent, and then we're passing it the question. In this case, it's coming from a user. Let's get that response. Notice how it takes about 3 seconds. Let's see the full response. Let's double click into the content. The content is what is 2 times 5. The AI message says, hey, I can help you with that. And so we have this down here with the tool call and the arguments are selected. So that's what we saw before. And then the tool is used to make 10, and the AI uses that to formulate its response. Now let's go take a look at Linkspan. First one is Anthropic. So this is where we didn't get our answer. We had an input 2 times 5. The output is, I'll help you with that. There's the arguments to the tool. We know we're going to use multiply, and that's it. We don't have 10. Now let's take a look at LangGraph. And you can see on the left-hand side, it's much more busy. We have the input. We have then the AI saying they can help with that. Okay, so we've caught up to what was done before. And then we have the tool calls response or the output of the tool, followed by AI providing us with our answer, which is 2 multiplied by 5 equals 10. Now, on the left-hand side, we can see latency. We can see how long things are taking. So a lot of the time here was taken up by the initial agent and this call model, followed by the decision to make use of the tool. And so here we can see that we have A and B. Let's see, I can help you with that. And it sets A and B to 2 and 5. There's this should continue, this edge, which is conditional. And you can see it's 0, it's not end. If I were to go down to the bottom, so this is after the tool has been used and has produced the number 10. We had the second agent, which is jumping in and making use of that and outputting the final response, which is 2 multiplied by 5 equals 10. Should continue? No, it should go to end. And that's our observability. Now, if we wanted to play around with this, we could throw it into Playground and start modifying the prompt. But I'm going to stop there. And that's essentially how you can very quickly stand up your own chatbot, your own LLM with the tool. I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned a lot from it. Expect a lot more. We're going to have a lot of fun in this DS space together because there's so much to learn. Excited to talk about it with you.